Hi everybody, welcome to TK Power Sports. And what I have here today in front of me is a little bit different from what we usually do. This is an off-road electric mountain bike provided to us by Highboy. This is the P6. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about unboxing this thing, putting it together, what it rides like on the trails, both on-road and off-road, and we're gonna compare it to a traditional pedal bike. So stay tuned, let's get into it. So when Highboy shipped this to us, the nice thing about this ordering process is the bike comes right to your house, literally. And actually I had a cool delivery man. He took it back to my garage, didn't even leave it on the front doorstep. It was really nice. When we opened the box this morning, it was really simple to build. The bike comes pretty much pre-assembled with a couple of things you have to adjust yourself. The handlebar was loose, kind of laying off to one side. We had to mount that, select the angle that we wanted, 4 bolts in the front tire, of course, beside it as well. Slide that into place, slide the axle through, spin it on. Pedals, that was the last thing. Bolt the pedals in, tighten them up. Everything else was ready. It was all on, it was all ready to go. Set the seat height, charge it up, and away we went. Realistically, if you're ordering a bike, that building process is super simple. A lot of bikes from some other more established or higher end bike retailers, you're gonna have to drop it off at a shop to get it set up and built and all that. No, this is simple. 3, 4, 5 bolts and it's out of the box, ready to ride. So the one thing we did notice when taking this thing out of the box and putting it together is the quality of this. Now, Highboy is a relatively new company. They've only been, they've only existed for say a little over a year at this point. So it was kind of iffy. You're not going with your standard Huffy, CCM, Trek, any of those more established brands that are specialized in these types of bikes. So we were all a little, we'll see what we get. But coming out of the box, all the components, the powder coat finish on it is really nice. All the welds were really clean. Everything looks, really, really well put together. The materials are very durable from what I can feel. A couple of them are a little bit, say, on the cheaper side. These grips, for example, I might be replacing those. They're just loose right out of the box. Couple of bits and pieces I might change up right out of the box, but overall, the package seems really good. And I mean, I'm certainly not a small guy, so if I stand on a set of pedals and they don't snap, I gotta think that they're at least built halfway decently. But right now, that's kind of where my knowledge of this type of product ends. So I'm actually going to hand this over to our cameraman Liam, who is an avid cyclist, and he's going to be talking about what he thinks of this bike compared to his own bike and just give you some better impressions than what I would tell you about riding down a trail. So here we are with the man of the hour. This is our cameraman Liam, and I'm actually standing here holding his bike, and I'm holding it because he doesn't have a kickstand, and I'm assuming that's for weight savings.
Yes, weight saving, and generally just gets in the way from mountain biking.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is my Trek Roscoe 7. I bought it a few months ago. I've just really got back into mountain biking, but I have been biking for most of my life.
Perfect. Now, difference-wise, I mean, right away, obviously, let's just talk about the weight. Because like I said, I picked it up already and I was like, oh my goodness, I loaded that in the truck earlier. Yeah, and it was like,
I broke your back. Yeah, there's a huge difference. I believe the weight on my bike is about 31 pounds. And then over here on the Highboy, I think it was
65, right? I believe, or 68.
So we're looking at almost twice the weight over here, with the bigger frame, the battery, the big fat tires, all that stuff. It obviously adds some weight. So the tires on this guy are 4 inches wide. On my bike here, they are 2.6 inches wide. So that's a pretty big difference. And these are pretty wide for a mountain bike, a regular mountain bike. But yeah, with the fat tires, obviously it changes everything dramatically. So much more stable. I was going down a hill there with a big rut in the middle of it too, and I noticed that with the Highboy P6, I could go right into the rut and still feel like super safe and super stable. With my bike, I had to be a little bit more careful with my line, and so yeah, that was another difference that I noticed there.
And I even noticed over there too, and you can probably comment on this, with the wider tire, the float in it. There was that loose sand section in that trail over there.
Yep.
And the fat tire just kind of, right over the top of it, versus when I rode the skinnier bike on the way back out,
you're digging in.
it felt like I was digging in, and I really had to kind of seek out a harder section.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Now,
it.
did you feel that on your bike compared to that bike?
Yeah, I'd imagine not as much as like a skinnier gravel bike, but yeah, I'm digging into the sand a little bit more, where like you said, it feels like you're like floating on top of everything with this bike. And another difference I'll mention is the suspension here. We only have 80 millimeters of front travel on this guy, the P6. On my Trek Roscoe 7, I have 140 mil travel in the front. So I have a lot more suspension travel here. But with the fat tires, they actually provide a little bit of suspension themselves, especially if you run them at a lower PSI. So that's going to soak up some more of the bumps, and it kind of negates the lesser suspension on the P6.
Okay, so I think the last thing to do then is get back out there and let's ride them. Let's get them a little bit dirtier than they are right now.
Let's do it. Okay, so we're in this little quarry here. I'm going to do a quick couple of laps on the Highboy P6 to get a feel for how it rides. Like Matt said earlier in the video, this is a one-size-fits-all frame. I do have a little bit of a problem with that, just in the fact that it's obviously accommodating larger riders. I'm about 5'8", 180 pounds, so I would usually ride on a medium frame. My Trek Roscoe is a medium. But yeah, with this one, the standover height, it's a little bit too high. So when I swing my leg over here like this, you can see I gotta be on my tippy toes to make sure I can still have babies in the future. So that's a bit of a problem, but we're gonna hop on and see how it rides, and maybe that problem will go away once I get on. Another thing I'd like to point out is the seat. It's kind of a funny looking seat. It's got a little vent hole there, and it's quite wide and very cushy. This is a very comfortable seat, so I think this thing is gonna eat up the miles, but let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Now this is a level 3 bike, which means that it does have an independent throttle, so you can just sit on it and use the throttle to accelerate. You don't have to pedal. It does also have pedal assist, so if you do want to pedal, it'll assist you along. But for this first lap, I'm just going to go around just using the throttle and see how it feels in terms of stability and the modulation. So let's give it a shot. The modulation on the throttle is actually, it feels pretty accurate. I can pretty slowly turn down, get around some of these rocks, no problem. And as soon as I let her rip, it accelerates, it really goes. And that feels pretty good. I got a feel for the brakes there too. And these are Wu Jing brakes. I gotta say, I've never heard of that brand before, but they do seem to work pretty well right now. And now let's give it a little bit more of a challenge. Gonna head over to this small hill here. Just using the throttle, see if I can just slowly make my way up it. There's a tree. And you know, one thing I'll notice right here, these wide tires, although they're very stable at speed, they are not very maneuverable at slow speed. So I notice there is a little bit of a drag in the turns, and it kind of slowly turns around, almost like a boat, compared to a regular mountain bike. It is not as nimble or light-footed, and the P6 does max out at around 28 miles an hour. That's 45 kilometers per hour. But yeah, that feels pretty good. And now I'm gonna try pedaling along, and the main thing I'm looking out for here is just to see how natural it feels as I'm pedaling. Some e-bikes are very natural feeling, and you can almost barely even tell that there's a motor underneath you. Now with a Highboy P6, I would say that is not the case. With this one, you can definitely feel a couple of pedals and then it slowly kicks in. It's almost like turbo lag in a car. If you know what that feels like, you don't feel like you get full power until you're one or 2 seconds into the acceleration. So I'm gonna try and pedal up this hill now. Whew. Got a little pedal strike there. My pedal hit a rock on the way up. Say the crank arms are fairly long on this bike, so that's one thing you might want to switch out. And another thing I'm noticing here, the pedals are not very good. And that is a hallmark of most bikes when you get them from the shop, even really high-end bikes. The first thing you're gonna swap out is the pedals. And then the other thing I'll notice, I think Matt mentioned this earlier, but the grips are very slick. They do not provide much grip at all. And especially since on the right side, half of your grip is the throttle too. So you really wanna have a nice handle on the grip. And yeah, I gotta say, I do not like these grips. But on the other hand, the power feels really good. When you really start laying into it, you can pick up speed really quickly. And then the brakes are powerful enough to slow you down, which is nice. I will say the brakes are a little squealy. Now this is a brand new bike, we just built it this morning, so some of these things take some time to settle in. But as of right now, the brakes are pretty loud. But on the other hand, the motor is like almost silent. There's very little sound coming out of the bike. There is a very slight whine, but yeah, almost silent really. Now I'm gonna hit this larger hill over here. I wanna feel the suspension here. So there's only 80 mils of front suspension travel. Hit a couple rocks there, and it does soak things up. But when I compare it to a regular mountain bike, which, you know, basically 100 millimeters is the bare minimum for a mountain bike, it does feel limited. And I feel like if you were to hit a large enough obstacle or hit an obstacle fast enough, you might be in for a bad time. Some of these smaller rocks on the ground in front of me are okay. But yeah, I do have concerns about taking this on a more gnarly trail with this kind of suspension. And now with a bike like this, it's really easy to learn how to manual because you can obviously apply some throttle. So I was trying it out here, and you can even see me wipe out trying to hold a manual. So I hope you enjoy that. Okay, now here I am with my bike. This is the Trek Roscoe 7, the 2024 model, and this is a medium frame, and this thing fits me like a glove. It is perfect. I am like right in the middle of that medium range, so it fits me great. And as you can see, I'll step over it, and you can see I can stand here flat-footed, and that is the importance of a proper bike fit. But anyways, let's go for a ride, and I'll highlight some of the differences. It feels so different. Right away you get on, and yeah, it's just a totally different kind of machine. My handling feels much more nimble here, I will say that. But obviously I have skinnier tires, so I gotta be a little bit more careful about where my tires go, much more focused on the trail ahead of me and the line I'm taking. And you know, if you're a newbie looking into getting into whether it's, you know, gravel biking or mountain biking, I would highly recommend you go to your local bike shop, talk to people, and most importantly, sit on these units and, you know, get a feel for them. Actually ride them before you buy them, because all these bikes just react so differently, and they're all, you know, advantageous in different situations. So with this bike, obviously gonna be much better for a mountain bike trail. Any kind of single track, this bike is gonna be superior. But if you're commuting, obviously an e-bike is probably better for you. So yeah, there's just so much to learn, so much to read, because they're all so different. The biggest difference of these two bikes is definitely felt going uphill. And to illustrate that, we did an uphill race. I took the P6 and this bike up a large, rocky, rutted out, sandy hill, and we timed it. And I'll cue that up for you guys right now. You can check it out, and I think you obviously know the winner, but you can see for yourself right here.
All right, folks, Liam is down there with the Highboy, and we're gonna do a little timed race up this hill. Electric mountain bike versus his standard mountain bike. There's Matthew over there, right there. He's running the timer at those posts back there, so we will be able to get an accurate time on both of these bikes. And Liam is running it on full assist, but he is gonna pedal his whole way up. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! 19.73. Okay, now we'll ditch the electric motors and we'll see how Liam power does. All right, guys, now same hill, and Liam's gonna pedal up on his non-e-assist mountain bike, see how it compares. In 3, 2, 1, go! Good, good. 26.43, which of course is slower, but it's not as slow as I thought it would be. It wasn't bad.
We've had a really fun day out here with this Highboy, just cruising the trails and playing around in the dirt and everything. And I think the thing we kept talking about off camera a lot was usage cases. And, you know, this bike here in Canada, you can pick this one up for $2,199 MSRP, but there's always a sale going on, so just keep an eye. You can usually get it for less than that. And that's shipped right to your door, inbox, ready to go. And that's great for what you're getting. You're getting a long-range e-bike. It's comfortable, it's capable to handle the majority of the off-roading that you might do to either have fun or to get where you need to go. But as Liam said, when you were riding here in the gravel pit, you're not getting the same quality components, right?
Yeah, and there's more of a joy in the ride, I think, of a manual bike. I mean, that just might be my opinion. But yeah, of course, usage case is so important. That's what we kept on coming back to. And you know, if you're using this for commuting or just cruising around town, like, it's a great little machine. It's super fast, super fun. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. I mean, like, every time I pulled that throttle, there's a smile on my face. So that kind of tells you something, I think.
Exactly, and I think on that note, we're coming to the end of this one here, guys. Go below, let us know what you think. You know, do you ride a manual bike? Would you take an electric bike? Would you even consider one, I guess, is the ultimate question. And then as always, you know, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we're always doing something fun on this channel, but right now I'm gonna go have a lot of high-speed fun. Bye!
Oh, wait for me! Oh, pedaling sucks.